vamos a presentar a una persona que ha trabajado durante más de 40 años en la industria de los alimentos. Esta persona es el CEO, fundador y presidente de una compañía pionera en el mundo y súper disruptiva que es BlueNalu. Como les comentaba, la tostada de atún a mí me encanta, pero vamos a tener problemas para seguir comiendo esta tostada si no solucionamos algunos temas como son los metales pesados, como son pues la disponibilidad en el océano. Así que para todo esto vamos a tener mucha esperanza de la mano de Lou Cooperhouse. Please join me on the stage. I was just telling them about how much I love la tostada de atún and how you're going to make it possible so that we eat this tostada forever.
Absolutely.
Welcome, Lou.
Thank you. So, buenas tardes. That's the only Spanish I'll be using today. But that's a real honor to be speaking to you about BlueNalu as a case study. But the real conversation today I want to talk about is the power of partnerships. All of us are here today, I hope, to actually meet each other and actually forge new relationships and opportunities in which one and one can equal three. So I really want to talk about food innovation and power of partnerships, but the whole conversation begins with really understanding 5 key aspects. Partnerships don't just happen, through serendipity or some kind of master plan. They take a lot of thinking, a lot of strategy, and the way I think about developing partnerships, and I'll talk more about BlueNalu in a moment. It begins with identifying what your unique value proposition is, what makes your company really distinctive and special. Therefore, what don't you know? What is your needs assessment to really create the value that you're really embracing? And we'll learn more about open innovation in a later presentation, but really embracing open innovation to really foster those kind of partnerships that can really create your success. Put this into action, get all of your employees to think about open innovation and collaboration as well. I'll talk a little bit about core values. And last way, this never stops. Partnerships is an ongoing thing. As your company continue to evolve, you will have new opportunities to create new collaborations. So BlueNalu, as was described, is actually making real seafood directly from the cells of fish. Never done before. We're making cell-cultivated seafood. So when you think about our unique situation at BlueNalu, it all begins with market research. What species should we work on? Why did I pick fish versus meat or poultry? I really wanted to address a global supply chain challenge, really addressing seafood. Today, compromised with mercury, microplastics, environmental pollutants. How can we make something that's actually consistent every time, 100% yield, just the part we eat? So it really addresses so many issues with both consumers and customers. So market research is really critical as I go from around this clock here. Next, regulatory. When my company started, and I began the company in 2018, we're based in San Diego, there was no regulatory pathway anywhere in the world. So we had to work with the United States Food and Drug Administration, also Singapore, Korea, Japan, Europe, Middle East, all the opportunities where this kind of industry could be very successful. But we had to begin with educating literally the regulatory authorities, identifying partnerships that could help support us in that. Third, there was no food grade supply chain. You think about what we're doing at BlueNalu, we're feeding, as I mentioned, living fish cells. We literally took a bluefin tuna from the Pacific Ocean. We isolated muscle cells or fat cells or connective tissue cells. We're enabling them to grow in very large volumes. These cells, we figured out how they can continually divide in a large fermentation vessel. It's been called lab grown, but this is made in a factory, like all of our food products are. It's not lab grown, it's factory made. It looks a bit like a microbrewery. So we're making this product in this large stainless steel vessel, but we're feeding these cells nutrients. These nutrients are very similar to what's found in aquaculture. So in aquaculture in the fjords of Norway, they're feeding these living fish amino acids, salts, sugars, lipids, vitamins. We have the same exact nutritional requirements for our fish cells. Product development, we're making something that's delicious. How do we make sure that it's the same every time? Who are the partners we need to engage with? Factory development, operations, engineering, and of course, food service and retail channel partners. We need to get this to consumers worldwide. Who are those distributors and partners that could help us with that as well? So open innovation, all of you know about, but I want to begin with what it's not. Closed innovation means, oh, I can figure this out myself. It's, it's the whole mentality not invented here. Open innovation is really thinking broadly, going outside of your area of core competency, talking to external shareholders, stakeholders, to really bring in new ideas, create that synergy where 1 and 1 equals 3. And that's how the collaboration really results. So let me go back to what BlueNalu is all about in our value proposition and some of the challenges that we had as a case study here. So again, we're making a renewable source of protein without continuously taking fish from the ocean. From one fish, I can literally feed literally 1 million portions of seafood. We're based in San Diego, and we're proud to say that we've established global leadership in creating this cell-cultivated seafood, again, directly from the cells of fish. Why did I pick seafood? Why didn't I pick chicken or beef? Well, in fact, seafood, first of all, it's the fastest growing protein on the planet. It's actually overtaking poultry as the fastest growing protein. However, we have a huge supply chain challenge. 90% of our global fisheries are fully exploited overfish. There aren't any more fish in the sea. And in fact, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization has estimated there'll be a 50 million ton supply chain gap by 2050. So furthermore, there's an issue with supply being compromised. Today we have warming oceans, acidification, some of the global challenges that are really affecting our supply of seafood. It may in fact contain harmful chemicals like PCBs or pathogens, parasites, environmental contaminants. We just don't have a sustainable source like we do with chicken or beef or even farm-raised seafood, where you do have a consistent supply. But wild capture seafood, I really selected that for some of the unique challenges it faces. Even the United States, we import 90% of our seafood. There's a global food security issue here as well. So we really need a new method of seafood production to feed our future generations. This is our actual prototypes, our bluefin tuna. It's the toro portion. The toro is the belly portion of a bluefin tuna. This is the high fat, the Wagyu beef of the sea, if you will. We're delivering what matters most to both consumers and customers, the same delicious product that people are used to, just as healthy, with omegas and all the nutrients that you would have in traditional seafood, but a resilient, predictable supply that's also responsible and ocean-minded. So we've actually done 8 different finfish species thus far. You see some illustrations or photographs, I should say, of yellowtail amberjack, mahi-mahi, and then bluefin tuna, which has become our flagship product. And in fact, bluefin tuna is really something that really addresses kind of the holy grail of what we can do with this industry. Again, you can see the marbling of the bluefin tuna toro. It's a sought-after delicacy. Roughly 75% of the global capture of bluefin tuna today actually goes to Japan. So we can now make this accessible and democratized and even available at the same or lower price point as conventional bluefin tuna. And we know for a fact that consumers and customers are excited by this. Again, market research has demonstrated, and we've done this with several of our partners, food security, having a product that reduces reliance on foreign imports, having a product that can be locally made with really, frankly, a higher paying job. The seafood industry actually is one of the most challenging jobs on our planet. Really an extraordinary amount of injuries and even deaths happen on fishing vessels. But we can create greater seafood consumption, particularly in nations where it's not widely available. In the middle column there, healthier for consumers. We've actually done 10,000 consumer surveys in 8 nations, US, UK, Japan, Korea, Singapore, and Thailand, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. Consistently across the board, we found 9 out of 10 consumers are excited to try our products because of the health benefits. Restaurants are similarly excited because of the restaurant benefits, 100% yield, just the part we eat. It's not a living fish, just the fillet in the form of a saku block. That is a traditional way in which bluefin tuna is provided. The same taste, texture, and nutritional in appearance as conventional products, and again, traceable and transparent and available year-round. So again, as I mentioned, in the United States, 9 out of 10 consumers have been excited to try the product, again, for the health benefits. Many of them are willing to pay the same or more because of the health benefits and really recommend that restaurant to others. We're based in San Diego, as I mentioned. We have 2 locations, one where we do all the core R&D, one where we also do pilot production. And we're also working with a third party, a CMO, a contract manufacturing organization, that could help us scale up to significant volumes later next year. So when I back to the value proposition and the partnership strategy, when I began the company, identified these are 7 geographic locations where we see the per capita consumption of seafood being the greatest and where we really wanted to establish strategic partners. These include 2 locations, United States, East Coast, West Coast, Europe, Middle East, Southeast Asia, Korea, and Japan. In fact, Korea and Japan are the top 2 nations of the world for per capita consumption of seafood. We certainly want to have a facility in South America or Central America in the future as well. Initially, we'll do that and supply that from United States. And we identified these locations based on the consumer research that we've done. As I mentioned, 8 different nations, the total addressable market, potential partners we could have in place, offtake agreements, government support, and other factors. So back to the partnership summary. So with all that as my value proposition and really what I'm trying to accomplish as a company, I really needed to have partners that could help us with market research, consumer intelligence, access to regulatory authorities, R&D and supply chain, product development, operations and engineering, and also food service partners. So I'll use a couple examples here. Nutreco, some of you may know or may not know, but Nutreco is a bit like the Cargill of aquaculture. They're one of the largest suppliers of aquaculture feed on the planet, supporting both animals on land, terrestrial, as well as in sea. So where Nutreco is making, again, fish feed for living fish in the fjords of Norway, we need fish feed to feed fish cells in our stainless steel vessel, which is called a bioreactor. So they're a multi-time investor in the company. They've actually built a factory to supply this industry. So that's the kind of partnerships I'm talking about that really helped us with not just R&D and supply chain, but also in operations and engineering. NEOM is actually part of the sovereign fund in Saudi Arabia. They're our largest investor, and they're really addressing food security, where they do not have a resilient supply of sustainable seafood to feed their citizens in the future. You see quite a few in Asia that are listed here as well, in the United States and UK. So again, we really embrace the UN Sustainable Development Goals, number 17, my favorite. It is called Partnerships to Achieve the Goals. Number 14 is called Life Below Water. So again, we actually embrace 10 of the UN SDGs, and that's really been quite beneficial because our partners embrace these same ones as well. So when I talk about partnerships, it's not just companies like I've just mentioned, but it really also addresses your employees. Your employees are all part of your partnership strategy as well. Consultants, your board of directors, your observers. We have a corporate advisory board and scientific advisory board. So back to open innovation, we're bringing in advice and interest and excitement from internal and external sources. Investors are an extraordinary source of inspiration and access to partners, corporate partners on the strategic side as well, and of course, academia, federal agencies, economic development organizations, legal, accounting, real estate, trade associations, vendors, suppliers, and industry peers. All of us working together as part of this ecosystem of a partnership strategy. And I really wanted to highlight that first one I mentioned, employees. We can't forget about our most valuable asset as corporations, it's our employees. So I actually got together with our team and we created core values early on. And core values are also really do embrace open innovation. It's first of all being what we call epicurious, imagining the future of food, thinking outside the box. What do I need to do to be successful, challenging the status quo? Again, we're doing something never done before. And then being bold, like how can I accomplish that goal? Through an accountable, solution-centric objective, and identifying solutions that do include partnerships that can really help us solve these problems. And of course, being a lighthouse, being best in class, world class, in fact, in how we actually lead the company forward and also demonstrate integrity, humility, and continuous improvement. And lastly, being true blue, respectful of each other and our peers and our partners, supportive, collaborative, and creating trust, and of course, teamwork. So again, we've attracted quite a bit of investors since the company's foundation back in 2018. Our current financing is led by NEOM and co-led by Lewis and Clark and City Capital. Very much a global company with a lot of global partners across our whole spectrum here. And with that, I just want to say thank you for your time. Also, QR code. So happy to link in with you. Thank you.